O Mother Nui, stretch high above this valley. Your starry body is our glory. Then see the hawk of yonder Rahur quit, his fiery splendor, oh so mighty. He brings a light for all our weary souls. He makes the broken spirit whole.
You know, it's wild. Isaac Newton wrote over 1 million words on alchemy.
Yeah, that is way more than he ever wrote about physics or gravity.
Exactly. So today we are taking you on a deep dive into a stack of early modern alchemical manuscripts. Stuff like Latin MS 82.
Right. And our mission for you on this deep dive is to extract the real insights from these texts.
Yeah.
We want to show you that alchemy wasn't just, cinematic dark magic.
It was actually this highly sophisticated theory of everything.
Spot on. A massive framework blending chemistry, medicine, and theology. And that entire theory was built on a very specific triad. You have the sun, the moon, and Mercury.
Okay, let's unpack this, because I'm looking at the overarching Hermetic philosophy here, and it says the sun and moon are total opposites.
Right. In this framework, the sun represents the red male soul. It's fundamentally hot and dry.
And the moon is the white female body, which is cold and moist. I mean, it reminds me of early, highly encrypted open source software, but I'm struggling to see how you can force those two extremes together without them just destroying each other.
Well, what's fascinating here is that you absolutely cannot force them together directly.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that fundamental disconnect between opposing forces is what they called an ontological gap. Basically a hard limit between different states of being, like spirit and matter.
So you need a bridge.
Exactly. That's Mercury. And it wasn't just the literal physical liquid metal you'd find in a thermometer. They viewed Mercury as this cosmic mediating spirit.
Oh, so if the sun and moon are like two completely incompatible operating systems, Mercury is the universal translator that actually lets them talk to each other.
Spot on. It acts as a universal solvent. It breaks down those rigid barriers so opposing forces can actually fuse. And this radical thinker named Paracelsus realized, hey, you don't have to limit this translation process to metals in a lab.
Wait, he applied it to something else?
Yeah, he took this exact triad and applied it directly to human biology.
Wait, how does a theory about fusing metals apply to human anatomy? If I have a fever, how does my internal sun or moon fix it?
Well, because to Paracelsus, a sickness wasn't a germ you caught. It was a localized corruption of your internal elemental balance.
Oh, I see.
So if your liver is failing, your internal mercury is just out of sync. By ingesting alchemically prepared medicines, you are chemically retuning that specific organ's elemental frequency back to a healthy state.
Wow, that is incredibly systematic.
It is. But he even pushed this into theology, which was incredibly risky. Now, we are just impartially reporting what the sources say here, but his followers essentially equated the mediating spirit of Mercury to Jesus Christ.
Whoa. Arguing that both served as the divine mediator between God's perfection and our flawed material world?
Yes.
I mean, comparing a chemical solvent to Jesus Christ seems like a fast track to getting burned at the stake by Orthodox theologians back then. You definitely couldn't just publish a paperback about that.
No, absolutely not. They had to hide it carefully. That's why they used manuscript miscellanies, like Latin MS 82. These were deeply personal, hand-drawn journals, heavily coded with bizarre imagery.
And here's where it gets really interesting. Because the imagery isn't just weird art. It's more like a heavily encrypted, personalized Pinterest board for elite scientists. Like in MS-82, there is an image of an anatomical furnace.
Right. And it's not a metaphor. It was an actual physical glass distillation apparatus, blown to exactly mimic the shape of a human body.
The mechanism of it is brilliant. They would boil a patient's urine in the base of this glass body, right?
Yes. And by watching exactly where the rising vapors condensed, say, in the glass chest or the glass head, they diagnosed which exact organ in the human patient was malfunctioning.
It's literally a physical mapping of the microcosm. And they also used these coded monsters, like the Eunichnum monster.
Oh, yeah, the creature with a bird's beak and winged feet like the messenger god Hermes.
And 3 heads for the sun, moon, and Mercury. It was a visual schematic showing how to force those 3 primes into one unified body.
So what does this all mean?
What do you mean? Well, they are blowing human-shaped glass, boiling urine, or risking execution for heresy. What is the ultimate mechanical payoff for all this exhausting effort?
The ultimate goal of the great work wasn't financial wealth. It was synthesizing the dark red stone. the elixir of life.
Right.
The theory was that humanity has been biologically and spiritually broken ever since the biblical fall from Eden, what they called post-lapsarian human ills.
So since the stone was the absolute perfect balance of the sun, moon, and Mercury, dissolving a tiny grain of it in wine and drinking, it would physically overwrite your body's corrupted code.
Exactly. It would theoretically heal any disease and instantly perfect the alchemists themselves.
You are literally drinking perfection to cure your broken nature, which brings us to why spending time on a 16th century esoteric science matters for you today.
Yeah.
There is a quote copied into Latin MS 82 that really stuck with me. It says, "I do not immediately dismiss what I cannot comprehend. Instead, I admire even more the less I understand."
That epistemological humility is crucial. I mean, they didn't reject a paradox just because it defied logic. They observed, they tinkered, and they tried to synthesize it.
Right.
When you are facing today's absolute fire hose of information overload, adopting that humility, admitting you don't have dominion over nature, but staying deeply curious, is an incredibly effective tool for navigating complex problems.
It really reframes how we look at them. They weren't brewing dark magic in caves. They were mapping cosmic planetary forces onto human organs to make sense of the universe.
They really were.
It leaves you wondering what rigidly accepted modern scientific frameworks might future generations look back on as our era's alchemy.